Hey everyone, this is Tales from the Loop. This is like that weird RPG that everybody's talking about that is nearly impossible to get a hold of because the print run's gone. And my understanding is the second print run is going to be coming out very, very, very soon, or like Q4 of this year. So if you're watching this and you like what you see as far as this is concerned, don't go and pay an exorbitant amount of money for this book. Wait just a little bit of time and you can get your very own, and you don't have to pay for it. This is produced by Modiphius Entertainment, makers of excellent board and card games. So that's where you'd have to find it. I think I picked mine up at Gen Con, actually. I've seen a couple of copies, and they're since gone, but I saw a couple of copies on the shelves at my my local game store. I don't think I've ever seen it for sale on like Amazon or any of the other like online retailers, but you know, obviously you could just contact Modiphius Entertainment or contact your local game store and have them possibly order one for you once it's reprinted. So anyway, regardless, as you can see, this is role-playing in the 80s that never existed. Okay, so here's the skinny. So a lot of people see this and they're like, oh, so it's like Stranger Things. No, not really. Though that's not a bad estimation. Okay, so like everybody, like a lot of people have watched Stranger Things, the series that was on Netflix. It was really excellent. It was really amazing. We're all waiting for the second season. We're excited about that. But okay, so here you have this game, and like you can see, there's these kids, and they're standing in front of these towers with the lights, and they're approaching it, you know, and they're investigating the mystery. This is when I grew up watching movies like The Goonies and E.T. and things like that, and that was the thing where the kids, you know, were the stars of the show, and they were investigating things. And this is a fantastic world that they've created. There's two different settings that are in the exact same basic area. There's a one that's set in Scandinavia, and there's one that's set in America, in like the desert. I think it's Mojave, the Mojave Desert in America. And basically the whole idea is that there's these things that are basically the loops. They're this like fantastic beyond what we have right now technology that the Earth and the human beings have untapped. And because there's this weird like technology, there's these flying like, you know, nearly limitless energy, and there's these flying like vehicles that a lot of people have. But there's also like all these different like mysteries going on. The robots are very, very common. They move around. People see like worker robots doing things for humans all the time. But there are quirks to what's going on, and the quirks are where the problems occur, and that's where the kids come in trying to solve those things. You know, rogue robots, maybe there was like some sort of weird temporal shift, maybe somebody traveled through time, things like that that are causing things to go wrong in some way, shape, or form, and it's up to the kids to investigate those things and figure them out. Now, the one big mechanism in this game is you're going to have stats. You're going to make a character, and like your character's going to be kind of like an archetype. Are you the nerdy guy? Are you the bully at school? Things like that. You know, pretty straightforward. But you're going to have stats and skills and what have you, and you're going to roll dice for certain actions that you want to do. You know, and you know, do you want to climb the chain link fence? Okay, well then, you know, like you're going to roll dice. You want to try to hack into a computer, roll some dice. The big thing is that when you happen is you're going to roll a bunch of dice and you're going to try to get a 6. If you get a 6, you have a success. If you fail, some bad things can happen to you. Very, very big rule that you need to know. You can't die as a kid. You can't die. I mean, this isn't a game where like your kid is going to die. You can grow too old. like you basically the kids are ages 10 through 15. If your kid over the course of adventure grows too old, they stop caring about things that kids do. You've grown up, you have a car, you're driving around, you're doing things, and you've kind of moved on from doing the kid things. You've lost that kind of like that innocence in a way. So but you can have things happen to you. You can have negative things happen to you. You can get hurt. You can be afraid. You can be upset. Basically, things that happen to kids for real. Kids get hurt. They get upset, and those things will actually negatively affect you until you have a chance to actually role play out something that would actually get you handled. So if you're upset over something, maybe it's one of those things where you will, as the groups, you will have what's called they'll have a hideout, like a safe place, basically, where you can go and nothing bad can happen to you in your hideout, because it's your hideout, and your friends can be there, and you and your other people that are playing, your friends, can role play out something where you will alleviate what's going on. It could be just something, if you're hurt, it could be something where somebody has band-aids or gauze, and you're going to role play out that you taking some time to make sure that the cuts and scrapes in your legs have band-aids and cuts on them, and you role play that out, and then that negative modifier that would be actually damaging your ability to succeed at the skills that you're trying to do would be taken care of. Sometimes it'll be something where it's if you're upset, it's something where you'll actually role play something out with an NPC. Your parents, for example, your mom will you'll actually tell the GM, I want to role play out trying to talk to my mom about my problems, and so then you and the GM will actually role play out that interaction over breakfast or whatever. Your mom notices that you're not talking much, and she asks you what's wrong, and then it's and then you try to explain what's wrong, and your mom talks to you, and you role play that out, and that is a big key for Tales from the Loop. Tales from the Loop is not it is, yes, an adventure game where you are going to go and you're going to do things, and you're going to roll dice, and you're going to get into trouble. You're going to have problems. You're going to have things that you have to try to beat and succeed at. But for the most part, it is a storytelling game. Storytelling games kind of came into fruition a few years ago when Dungeon World came out. A very, very fantastic RPG. But this is the GM has a story, and there's something they want to tell, but you are going to work with the GM to come up with a story that all of you are telling and all of you are being a part of. Now, this type of RPG is not going to be for everyone. A lot of people are going to be very used to playing, stat crunchy games. They're going to be playing games with hit points and damage and what have you, and that's going to be their bread and butter. And definitely my gaming group is very much that. We are all about the rolling the dice, the killing the dragons, the grabbing the treasure. That is something that we played constantly. This is I think, for one, just reading this book was fantastic. I'm really glad I spent the money on it, because I really, really enjoyed reading this. I really enjoyed the artwork, which I'll show you some in here in just a little bit. But I really dug the system. Now, this is something that I'll play with my daughter, and I have played with my daughter. She and I have just gone through that process of going through the role-playing game, and that's been most of it, just me one-on-one. I did have one of my game group come over, and we played a three-person session for a while, my daughter, my friend, and myself, and that was a lot of fun as well. But I can see this as being a game that maybe I bet people will do campaigns or longer story arcs, if you will, with it. But I definitely see this as being something that I'm going to play at a convention. For example, I'm already scheduled to be playing it for a convention in February. My character has been created. I've been working with the storyteller for that particular game. I'm really, really excited to be a part of that, and we've actually come up with a backstory and a reason for my rich kid, which is the rich popular kid at school, but he's going to have a backstory as to why maybe he's not so happy and things like that. So I'm looking forward to role playing that out, and I'm looking forward to figuring out the story. The big thing about this is that it's kind of you have to drop a little bit of the suspension of belief, if you will, because since you can't die, you have to just you have to kind of inhabit the characters that you're playing and really care about them. You can't just say, well, since I can't die, I'm just going to go ahead and try. You have to think like a kid. Things are scary when you're a kid. When you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, the dark is scary. When you're 10, 11, 12 years old, you know, creepy people walking into the supermarket are scary. When you're 10, 11, 12 years old, trying to tell your parents that, like, you know, you don't want to go to school because, because it's stressing you out. That's a scary thing for when you were a kid. And, trying to tap into that and trying to remember what it was like to be that is part of the challenge of playing this game, which is one of the reasons why I think it's really fun to play with my daughter, because she's actually living in that moment. And actually, in a weird way, it's kind of brought us closer together as well, because of the fact that, like, I've kind of gotten an insight into the things that bug her, yeah. So I mean, so Tales from the Loop, it's fantastically made. It is super cool all over. I mean, there are all kinds of cool pictures in here that just kind of evoke theme and feelings. The artwork, from what I understand, was maybe specifically made for this, maybe not. I don't know. It was just, but it's really, really, really well done, and it just kind of just brings out the kind of like gut feelings that I have. And it's actually been kind of, and this is going to sound maybe a little bit weird, but you might want to look at this one. This is kind of cool. Notice the dinosaur there. I don't want to give too much away, but like the dinosaur, hiding out right there. It's there's a lot of weird things going on, because of the loops and what they do. I don't want to get weird here or anything like that with you, but definitely playing it kind of reopened a lot of closed doors I had from when I was a kid. I had a pretty happy childhood. Don't get me wrong. I had a lot of really, really close friends and really, 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 really good people that I hung out with, and friendships that I still have to this day. But there were a lot of things about my childhood that, just like anybody else, that just weren't the best, right? There's things like that. And I remember playing this actually kind of triggered, I hate that word triggered, but I mean, it kind of, made me think about stuff like that and think about being a kid, and I got a little bit introspective and a little bit quiet, I guess would be a good way to put it, as after I played it, and it was a good feeling. It was a very, very good feeling. It was a good place to be in. But I just, fair warning, it could bring out those kind of feelings, out of you as well when you play it. So I would strongly, if you are an RPG person, just for the fact that it is just so different and just so amazing in comparison to other stuff that's out there, I would strongly suggest that you pick this game up. I didn't really go into a lot into like the details as far as like character creation and the mechanisms, if you will, because this game isn't about that. It isn't about maxing out a character and like making sure that you have all these special abilities and powers that are going to affect the game in this, that, and the other way. This game it's about the journey, it's about the experience, and it's about kind of, reliving how awesome it was to be a kid in the 80s. If you were a kid in the 80s, it kind of brings that back. And it was pretty cool to be a kid back in the 80s, if you will. So there you go. That is Tales from the Loop. As I said, it is being reprinted. Don't go and pay a ton of money for the book right now. Just wait patiently. I heard late Q3, early Q4 is when it's going to be back in print. Maybe it's in print right now. If you can track down a copy, I mean, there's got to be copies out in the wild. If you can track down a copy and not pay an arm and a leg for it, I would strongly suggest doing that. But there you go. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. That's my take on Tales from the Loop. If you have any questions about it and you want to go more in depth, I'll be happy to do that with you. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Viking, telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.